Hi kindergarten friends, Mrs. Harkey here. I am so excited to be your mystery reader today. And the book I chose to read to you is called Panda and Polar Bear. Our author is Matthew J. Back, and he's not only our author, so he's not only the one who wrote the words in our story today, he is also our illustrator, so he also drew the pictures in our story. I just want to talk to you about a few things about the book, just to see if you remember some things. So I see that our book here is wearing something, and I'm going to see if you guys remember what it's called. It starts with a J, and it is called a jacket. So our book today is wearing a jacket. It is also a hardcover book, and it has something here that helps hold the pages together, something we also have on our bodies, and it is called a spine. So here is our spine label, and then remember on the back of our books we have our barcode label that we use to help check out the books. All right, let's get started with our story, Panda and Polar Bear. In a place where spring met winter, there lived two kinds of bears. Where it was green and grassy lived the panda bears, and where it was white and wintry lived the polar bears. But in between loomed a tall, steep, and slippery cliff. It was too tall for a panda bear to climb up, and too tall for a polar bear to climb down. And so the two never met. Until one curious polar bear became too curious. What was beyond his white, wintry world? He walked closer to the edge of the cliff, and closer still. Perhaps a little too close. Luckily, the polar bear landed in a patch of soft, squidgy mud. It was sticky and brown and yick. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Something was coming. The polar bear ran, but the cliff was too tall, too steep, and too slippery to climb up. Stomp, stomp, stomp. The polar bear covered his eyes, and he peeked from behind his muddy paws. And saw a strange, splotchy bear staring at him. "Are you new?" asked the strange, splotchy bear. "Do you want to play?" Said the polar bear. The splotchy bear took this as a yes. In no time, they were climbing trees, playing hide and seek, and following the leader. Finally, they sat down for a snack. Yick, thought the polar bear, the bamboo was too hard. He had a better idea. "Let's fish," he said to his new splotchy friend. So the polar bear looked into the water, and then he gasped. Could it be? He wasn't plain white anymore. He had turned into a splotchy bear. Splash! He swam out, snatched a fish, and proudly presented his catch. "You're fading," the splotchy bear said. "Where are your panda patches?" "Panda patches?" the polar bear replied. "Aren't you a panda bear?" asked the splotchy bear. "No," he said quietly. "I'm a polar bear. I'm all white, just like snow." He sighed. What terrifically splotchy panda bear would want to be friends with a plain white polar bear? But the panda's face brightened. I've never seen snow, he said. What is it like? So the polar bear explained all about snow. But the more he talked, the more he remembered. And the more he remembered, the more he missed. Suddenly, the polar bear was homesick. I'll help you get home, said the panda bear. But the cliff, the polar bear replied. I'll think of something, said the panda. So he thought and thought and thought until he couldn't think anymore. Maybe we could use bamboo, suggested the polar bear. My mother told me never to play with food, but I think it's okay this time, said the panda bear. I wonder what they could make out of the bamboo sticks. Are you thinking? Let's see. Together they made a very long ladder. A very, very long ladder. Did you guess it right? When it was finished, the time had come for the polar bear to go. He looked at the panda bear. Would they still be friends after he left? The polar bear wanted to ask, but he wasn't sure how. Instead, he turned and slowly climbed the ladder. And climbed and climbed. The higher he went, the harder the wind blew. The ladder began to shake. And then it was suddenly still. The polar bear looked down. There was the panda bear holding onto the ladder with all his might. Don't worry, the panda bear called. I've got you. In fact, they had each other and a lot more to discover. So now you can see the panda bear went and visited the polar bear to see how he lives. And what else I noticed here is I see penguins, I see giraffe, and I see a lion over here. I wonder who they will visit next. Thank you, friends, so much for listening to the story with me, and I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I do. I really like this story because it really shows us and teaches us about friendship, and I love the experience that Panda Bear had with Polar Bear. I miss you guys, and I can't wait to see you again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you later.